Well, that mesh spacer provides kind of all those functions, but it's sort of a glorified Windows screen. It's not really engineered in any good way. It's just been used forever. And believe me, people have thought about this as an opportunity set. CJ and I, back at Osmonics and GE Osmonics, we really, we tried. We thought of different ideas of how to go at it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in every membrane company, people have, but nobody's been able to figure it out.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new Aqua Membranes headquarters warehouse. We're still trying to figure out a name. It's so new. But today we have Steve Kloos of Burnt Island Ventures. And we're going to talk about something that's really personal, but to Steve and to us as we're being invested to by them. But Steve, I wanted to thank you for being here today.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Love it. What a massive, wonderful facility here. It's fun to be here.
Yeah. So before we talk about Aqua Membranes, I wanted to ask you about kind of your journey through water. And you started at Osmonics, GE, and then you've been doing a lot of water-based investing for a long time. Yeah. If you have a good story or talk about that, why you're interested in investing in water, what the transition was?
Yeah, so I started at Osmonics, which is a membrane system company also making membranes in 1994 in Minnesota, where I'm from originally. I was the first PhD that they hired. They wanted to beef up their membrane technology. And about a year and a half after I was there, we hired CJ from the University of Minnesota, really bright young guy with a lot of potential who's actually realized a ton of that. And then I got leadership for membrane technology. And then, we were lucky enough to get some federal awards. And we really built up our membrane technology, built up the team, built up our technology set. And then Osmonics really grew alongside of that. And independent of that. And then we were acquired by General Electric, so became a GE employee, which was a wonderful experience. They were very excited about what we were doing. I remember asking one of the leaders there, why are you guys with us all the time? And he said, we've never acquired a company of this size into General Electric that's had so much technology and potential. That's why we're spending so much time with you. So then I got a phone call saying, hey, Steve, we want you to move to Shanghai, China for a while. So I did that, took my family to China, lived in Shanghai. And so GE had a big research center there. It was a great experience building that out. And then we did a deal with the Singapore government. They wanted us to be local. So that was my project to build an R&D center for General Electric in Singapore. That was a great experience. Then got back to the US in this advanced technologies leader role, which is really setting up like an innovation program in GE. So in GE Water, it was leading the longer range programs internally. So how can we get more differentiation, along with kind of scouring the world and these so-called hubs of innovation where there's a disproportionate amount of water innovation happening. So Netherlands, Israel, Singapore, places like that to really get in local. And then as part of that role, I was a member of the General Electric venture capital team too. So that's how I got introduced to investing. And it was about 2.5 years into that role that I got recruited to join True North Venture Partners and, left General Electric to get into, investing in a VC through that, and then joined my good buddy Tom Ferguson and Christine Boyle last year as a partner at Burnt Island Ventures to be, fully exclusive again back into water.
And very impressive. I didn't know a lot about that with some of the research, and it's really impressive resume from the development side. And then as you've gone into water investing, what is interesting to you about the landscape of water investing? Why are you passionate about it?
Well, water is one of these fundamental goods. Everybody needs water. There was a recent study from the World Wildlife Fund that something like about 60% of global GDP is dependent on water, which absolutely makes sense. Water itself as a sector is about $1.4 trillion a year, which is pretty massive globally. And it's also under a lot of stress. So rainfall patterns are changing. We've seen that. So there's more droughts, which leads to water scarcity. Then there's also more extreme rainfall, which leads to stress on stormwater infrastructure and more flooding and losses from that. And when water is available and it's kind of clean and good, nobody seems to care. We take it for granted. But when it's not that, then it's all of a sudden a crisis because the world needs that. And it's not just municipalities, but companies, corporates, manufacturing plants, data centers, all rely on water. And with these changing rainfall patterns, it's now less predictable. And so some people have projected that water is like this new up and coming investment megatrend. And that's really why I called up Tom last year to join Burn Island, is I really wanted to get back full time into water, because this is a great opportunity. And I think what we're trying to build at Burn Island is to be a leading VC in that kind of early stage venture and early growth venture in this water area that is absolutely needing water innovation to meet the challenges. So that's why I'm thrilled about water.
Yeah, and everything you said it's great to know that there's a venture firm like Burn Island that is really focusing on, because these are huge problems that are not only going to affect people now, but they're going to affect people for hundreds of years if we don't take it.
I think water's got a good 3-decade plus of an investment run to sort of meet this challenge that we have, at least a good 3-decade run. And it just can't be, the same old replacements. It's just not enough money for the problem. So we need innovative solutions. And it was interesting, year over year, from July 23 to July 24, the average water wastewater utility, their tariff, what they charge their citizens, went up 10.7% in a 1-year period. Wow. And so this is really showing that, yes, like the investment is happening. When water rates go up, there's more than money sort of in the system that can help now, accommodate innovative solutions, because there's more of a value prop for something better instead of doing it the same old way. So I think we're at a good 3-decade long of an investment run. And we hear that anecdotally. A lot of private equity firms that are in infrastructure now are saying, hey, water is a really key part of that. And they're all scrounging around. So we think this is a great place to be, and like it's a massive impact to society in a very positive way. So it's a wonderful thing to do, as well as a great sector for investing.
Yeah, all of that's great, and I think that really rounds out what Aqua Membranes is also we want to be a part of. And you wrote a really nice article about us whenever the announcement came out that you guys were invested. Do you want to give a little bit of color to what interested Burn Island and you yourself in Aqua Membranes?
Yeah, so spiral wound membrane elements and really membrane modules overall are really foundational. Like just the spiral wound format is maybe $4.5 billion a year, growing consistently for the past couple decades at about 10% CAGR, and it's not going to slow down. And the spiral wound membrane module is really based off a design from the mid-1960s, where this multi-leaf and the module construction really looks a lot like it did back then. And one of the core components is really, basic, very rudimentary. It's the mesh spacer. And that mesh spacer provides a few different functions. It provides a spacing between the membrane sheets, and it also imparts some flows, eddies, to be able to break up what's called concentration polarization, because when you desalinate water, it's pure water that goes through the membrane. Well, the salts are left behind right at the surface, and you actually have to mix those back into the bulk. Otherwise, you're going to get an excess of scaling, fouling, and osmotic pressure increase. Well, that mesh spacer provides kind of all those functions, but it's sort of a glorified Windows screen. It's not really engineered in any good way. It's just been used forever. And believe me, people have thought about this as an opportunity set. CJ and I, back at Osmonics and GE Osmonics, we really, we tried. We thought of different ideas of how to go at it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in every membrane company, people have, but nobody's been able to figure it out. And it's actually a lot of opportunity, because that spacer channel is thicker than it needs to be, because you have these intersecting strands. So in just a simple way, probably could be at least half as thick as it is today. Also, the fluid dynamics and the breakup is not all that, done all that well, and you pay a lot of pressure drop down that module. So each module you're losing a lot of pressure just going through that mesh spacer to try to get that fluid dynamics breakup. So what Aqua Membranes has done is they've got, in our view, the first step change in RO membrane module design in decades. and it replaces that gross mesh spacer with much less plastic, really kind of these finely printed spacer dots, these little features in the membrane module that have much less height than the mesh spacer does. So it's thinner channels, which means you can pack more membrane in. It's better fluid dynamics, and the pressure drop down the module is a lot less. So you can take this advantage. You can get more throughput with an existing system. You can have the same throughput, but dramatically lower energy usage. It's better fluid dynamics, so you get reduced scaling, reduced amount of chemical use, and actually chemical use to clean the membranes is one of the major factors that leads to membrane failure. So we can guess that membranes are going to last a lot longer. And then also, because of the lower pressure drop, you can now optimize system designs, and especially for lower pressure membranes where you don't have too much applied pressure to start with. And as it goes through, just the spacers, you just don't, you can't really design a system very well. So now Aqua Membranes allows dramatically more efficient, greenfield systems to be built. So it really is a step change with an amazing amount of value in a very clever design. And so personally, I've known Rodney since about the time he started the company. And my sort of question was always okay, so you're printing directly on the membrane. This is can you do it so you don't damage the membrane? Mm-hmm. And do these things really stay there, or do they just sort of fall off over time?
Those are two very common questions.
And, the company's been in business. Aqua Membranes been working at this, Rodney, and then now an expanded team for 13 years. And in that time, have figured those things out and been able to show that with data, over kind of years of operation. And so Bing checks those boxes, and then, the refining the technology, the throughput, the cost, this is ultra exciting. This is one of those things where we're taking something highly unoptimized with kind of gross, and it's sucking up way more energy and kind of downsides, and really eking those things out, bringing it close to the natural entitlement. So yeah, we're thrilled, as customers are, and you hear from the market yourself, and so we're thrilled to be partners with Aqua Membranes.
Well, yeah, no, that's a great overview, and thanks for the investment for sure. We're very appreciative of it, and we're excited to be partners with Burnt Island. You guys have been great so far, and it's only been a short time. So, I think if you have any more questions, we're going to have the article that Steve wrote, if you'd like to read that as well, in the description, as well as some links to get in touch with our sales team if you would like to see some more collateral, and a link to our website. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll see more from us soon. Thanks.